up, guys? Welcome to another video. Today we're reviewing The Suicide Squad. This one came out yesterday and was directed by James Gunn and stars Idris Elba and John Cena. Now, before we start, don't hit that like button, subscribe to the post notification bell so you know for a free video. And let's start talking about the good. So every single actor and actress in this movie are all fantastic. There are, I believe, 30 something main characters in this movie, and each one of them has a presence on screen, and they're all entertaining. They're all very good in the film. I didn't find any character boring. A few of them were not utilized well in the film, but the rest of them, fantastic characters. The opening sequence. Now, the opening sequence is awesome. It's an awesome opening sequence. That opening sequence showed that no one is safe in this entire film because people die in this film. A lot of people die. But it's more emotional with some of the characters, what I'll speak about later. But the opening sequence is fantastic. It sets up the characters perfectly. The cinematography, which of course includes the shots, the camera angles, the lighting, fantastic. This is a James Gunn film, and James Gunn is a fantastic director. Guardians of the Galaxy had fantastic cinematography. Dawn of the Dead, fantastic cinematography. This one follows suit, and this also has very well done cinematography. This is possibly one of the, I would say, one of the better looking DC films. The introductions to the characters are fantastic. I thought that this film introduced every single character well. Some of them, like I said, were not utilized well in the film, so their introductions weren't really all that great. But for the rest of the characters, fantastic introductions. And their superpowers. The superpowers for some of them are very, very dumb, but it is a comic book film. Polka Dot Man shoots polka dots out of him. He has a disease or something with polka dots. That is very, very dumb, but fits the film. Peacemaker wears toilet bowl on his head. There's a king shark. It's a bunch of dumb characters that you wouldn't expect to be part of a big superhero film like this, but James Gunn, very weird characters, makes very weird characters in a very weird film, but it's very, very entertaining. Now, the characters have some backstories. Some of the characters have backstories. You get into, you get into Harley Quinn's backstory, Ratcatcher. I believe you get into some of the other characters' backstories, but not all of them. I did not really need all their backstories, which thankfully James Gunn did not deliver that. He only delivered on the few main characters in this film. The story. Now, the story is fantastic. I thought the story was very well done. Amanda Waller, takes this group of villains, turns them into the squad, and they have to go to this island, and then sort of figure out what's going on there. And it deals with Project Starfish. And I'll talk about that villain a little bit later, but the whole idea of these supervillains going to this island to basically become, I guess, superheroes in a way, I thought it was very well done. Because the actual villains of this film, of course, Amanda Waller and that entire group, and I thought they used these villains very well in the film. They have some emotional sequences where they actually feel like they're actually good people, and I thought it worked for the film. Starro. Now, Starro the Conqueror is a fantastic villain. He was not, or he or she or whatever it is not a character with a lot of character development because it's a starfish, but I thought it was very well utilized in this film. The third act of this film, which I'll speak about later, is awesome. Starro the Conqueror does things in this film that are very creepy and very weird, and I think it worked for the film because this film is a very weird superhero film. It's not a normal superhero film. They're creepy characters in this film. Starro is a creepy character, but Weasel is by far the creepiest character that I've ever seen in a superhero film. just the whole look of Weasel. Um, it just it's sort of unsettling at times, but hilarious in a lot of the sequences in this film. Um, Amanda Waller. Now, Amanda Waller is horrifying. She is a terrifying villain because she puts these bombs inside all of the supervillains' necks, and what she does, if they're trying to escape or whatever, she blows them up. And let me tell you, I'm not going to tell you who dies, but a lot of villains in this movie die, and it's sad at times. But Amanda Waller um, is horrified. She's horrifying to the audience because she doesn't really care about these supervillains. She just kills them off whenever she wants to. If they're not doing the job, they die. And like I said, with the emotional sequences, most of those sequences happen in the beginning of the film. So don't get attached to anyone because in the beginning of the film, it's awesome, but it's very sad. Um, the first act of the film. Now, the first act of the film, of course, where they're introducing the characters, setting up the premise of the film, what they're going to do, what the mission is. It's fantastic. I thought James Gunn set up every character perfectly. I cared about every single character except two of them, but then again, one of those characters was the first one to die. So I didn't really care about the character. And James Gunn knows the characters that the audience would not care about, and luckily they die right away, so it didn't really have any emotional impact on me. But I thought the first act set up the characters well, made you invested in the characters, in the mission. You wanted basically everyone to make it out alive, which of course they don't. So the first act of the film I thought was fantastic. Um, the sequences in this film are funny. There are a lot of hilarious sequences in this film. This is right underneath being an action superhero film. It is a comedy. This film is hilarious. James Gunn does a great job with the comedy in this film, just like Guardians of the Galaxy. Very funny film. This one takes it a step further because it's rated R, and I thought the sequences in this film are very funny. I would say that James Gunn uses the comedy very well in this film. He doesn't put it in sequences that are supposed to be emotional, so he places them well in the film. The third act of the film. Now, the third act of the film, some people have problems with the third act of the film. I thought the third act of the film was awesome. Starro the Conqueror, who is sort of I guess you can kind of call it the secondary antagonist to Amanda Waller. Starro the Conqueror is fantastic. Every single shot with Starro is either creepy or awesome. There is a creepy sequence with Starro where you see his tentacles inside of the building and you don't know what it is. Of course, you know it's Starro the Conqueror, but you don't know what it's going to look like. And then it kills one of the characters. But Starro the Conqueror is a fantastic villain. It's a great villain that looks very well done on screen. The ending sequence. Now, the ending sequence, I thought it was great. It works for the film. It closes every character's story out well. Of course, some of the characters don't make it by the end of the film, but I thought as a whole, the ending made sense for the film. And there are post-credit sequences that I thought were great. It added to the film. It doesn't really set anything up except a spin-off film or TV show with Peacemaker, but I thought they just made the experience more worthwhile. And there's a sequence that is, of course, has one of the weirdest characters in the film, Weasel. I'm not gonna spoil what it is, but it's funny. It's a funny sequence. That's all the good that I have. Now let's move on to the bad. So this is a very minor thing, but there are some pacing issues within this film. Some sequences I think could have been cut just a little bit in the second act of the film. But other than that, this is a very, very entertaining film. The Suicide Squad is an awesome, fun, and entertaining superhero film, and I highly recommend it. And I'm going to give the Suicide Squad an A-. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe with the post notification bell so you can know for a free video. I'm Peter. Thank you for watching.